Hey everyone, welcome back. Um, so here is part 2 of our section 8.4, where we are graphing in terms of we're graphing in vertex form. Okay. Here's what's happening now. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do examples 3 and 4 basically together because you guys are. That's kind of the way I have them set up on the note packets. But here's what's happening. Okay. Now you guys, we're moving this around. So before we were just kind of moving it left and right, that's this H coordinate. Now we're going to start moving it up and down. Okay? So your vertex, you should automatically be able to tell where your vertex is. Your vertex is going to be in this form of HK. Right there. That's where it says. And then your axis of symmetry is still staying the same. It's still going to be x equals h. But that k value is what we're looking at now. Here is a nice little summary, you guys, of what each of these values, so the A, the H, and the K does. So if you want to get this written down, it's actually kind of just a good little reminder so that you guys remember that there's really 4 things that can happen. Okay, number 1, your A value controls 2 things. It controls whether your parabola opens up or down. If it's positive, it opens up. If it's negative, it opens down. Okay, that's just kind of self-explanatory. And then if there's a stretch or a shrink that's happening, remember, a stretch happens if it's getting closer to the y-axis. So like your more narrow graphs are stretching, and they're shrinking if they're getting wider. Okay, so that's your A coordinate. Those are the 2 things that it controls. Your H value controls whether it goes left or right. This is opposite of what we think. I cannot stress this enough. So if it's moving left, it's actually going to be plus H. And if it's moving right, it's going to be minus H. And then lastly, K controls whether it moves up or down. And this we just take literal again, just like the A value. If it's positive, it's going to move up. And if it's negative, it's going to move down. Okay, pause the video, maybe get some of this stuff written like off to the side of the core concept that's right above. But I'm not going to waste a ton of time because I don't want this video to get super long again. But here's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to look at the first full example together. And then I'll let you guys, I'll kind of talk through what I expect for the bottom example so that you can do it. And then I'll do the word problem with you guys again. Okay? All right, so let me just, sorry, I should have done this earlier and I just didn't, so I apologize. I need to get, whoopsies. Nope, that's definitely not what I wanted. Let's see, delete this. Okay, so what we are going to do, copy, okay, good. All right, so here, we are going to, you guys, basically get an example in where we are doing all of the things. Okay, it's moving, it's, why did this not? Okay, now I'm set to go. Sorry about the delay, guys. Okay, so here's what's happening. First things first, like I kind of told you guys before, number 1, try and find your axis of symmetry. Okay, remember, we are in the form, this is g of x equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And I guess, let me just reconsider this. I don't think you necessarily need to find your axis of symmetry right away. I think right now we're kind of at the stage where find your vertex. That's going to really be number 1. Your vertex, remember, this is your h value, this is your k value. It's going to be in the form of hk. So your vertex is going to be at -2, 3. Remember, we take this oppositely. So back 2, up 3. I'm going to plot that vertex right there. Okay, then once I've found the vertex, I might just go ahead and throw this axis of symmetry in there because I know that the axis of symmetry has to go through that. So that will be more of like an afterthought, I would say. So we've done step 1 is normally to find the axis of symmetry. Step 2 is to find the vertex. Step 3, you need to find 2 other points to plot. Okay, now, unfortunately for us this time, it's not super easy in this form. This is kind of one of the downfalls of this form. It's not super easy for us to find the y-intercept, okay? So here's another way that we can easily and quickly figure out, okay, what's the other point? Pick a point that's right next to. Right, here's your vertex. Pick 1. Take 1, excuse me, -1, plug it in. -2, -1 plus 2 squared plus 3. Okay? What, and then just simplify. Okay, so this turns into 1 squared plus 3. So that's -2 plus 3. Your new point is going to be at -1, 1. Back 1, up 1. Okay, good. Now, this point is 1 unit to the right. Your other point is just going to go 1 unit to the left. Boom. Okay? There's really not a lot to it. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of different examples. You're going to have to do a lot of reps with this stuff. Okay? So be ready for just example upon example upon example. That's how you get better at these. Okay? Now, I'm going to move to the example that's right next to it. So to your immediate right, it says graph f of x when you have g of x plus 5. Okay, you guys, here's what that means. Basically, we're going to go inside of our function. So we're going to go inside g of x, the one from the last example. So I'll just rewrite it. We've got -2x plus 2 squared and then plus 3. And let me even just, okay, this is the last graph that we just did. So, oh, that was not helpful. We're going to take this entire graph and we're going to basically take the whole thing and move it 5 units to the right. Excuse me, left. I meant left. Because again, this is inside the parentheses. If it's inside the parentheses, it's dealing with the horizontal shift. So you're basically taking everything that you've got here and you are moving it 5 units left. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here, I'm going to take this point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm taking the whole thing, and I've just moved it 5 units left. Okay, so if you're taking your function, and let's say they wanted to, let's say they said -5, this would mean that you're taking it and you're moving it 5 units to the right. Let's say they want to take it and they want to do -3. That means since it's outside, it's a vertical shift, which means that this would be going down 3. Okay? All right, now your next example, I don't have it up here on my slides, so I apologize. But your job is to figure out the next example. I guess I didn't do, now that I kind of look at my note packet, I didn't do a very good job of recapping this one. There should be 4 things that happened. 4 different transformations. Number 1, just kind of starting from left to right in this formula here. Number 1, which way did our graph open? It opened down. Another way that you might be asked about this, or that it might be said, is that it reflected. Okay, so this reflected over the x-axis. Second thing that happened, again, kind of sticking with the left to right theme, we have a positive, well, not positive, but we have a 2. Okay, that means that the second transformation is that there was a vertical stretch, and that was by a factor of 2. Your third transformation, your entire graph moved to the left 2 units, and then the fourth transformation, it moved up 3 units. So that's just a basic summary. You guys are going to be asked to identify and explain some of those things, so just be prepared for that, especially for tomorrow, because I'm going to ask you on the next example, the bottom example, to tell me, like, what are the, I think that one only has 3 transformations. So I want you to be able to tell me what are the 3 transformations, and then figure out for the graph on the right, it says graph f of x equals h of x, yada, yada, yada. Be able to tell me what happened to that graph. Did it move up? Did it move down? Did it move left? Did it move right? Our final example. So I'm going to, again, try and get through this rather quickly because I don't want this video to get super long too. We've got water fountains. Water fountains are designed to give a special visual effect. They just are. It just says the water fountain shown consists of a stream of water that are shaped like parabolas, right? We've got this parabolic shape to it. And they want the streams, so like from this left-hand side, they want it to land specifically in the light because that's how they get the visual effect. Your job is to take, write and graph. We're not going to graph. We're just going to write it because we don't have time to graph it. We're just going to write a function that models the path, has a maximum height of 5 feet, has a vertex, ooh, this is important, vertex of 3, 5, and other important part is this 6, 0. Wow, those got real big. There we go. Okay. We'll just make these a little bit smaller so that they don't go into each other. All right. Step number 1, write down the basic formula. A x minus h squared plus k. Step 2, you've got a vertex of 3, 5. Remember, your vertex is always in the form of hk. Let's substitute. F of x equals a x minus h is 3 squared plus k is 5. Okay, that's a good substitution point. The other thing, they give you another point. We're going to take these and we're going to plug them in for x and y. Or x and, instead of y, remember y and f of x are the exact same thing. So we're going to take 0, plug it in for f of x, equals a times x is, what do they say, 6? Ah, why did you do that? And then minus, then we've got 3 squared plus 5. Basically, you guys, you're trying to figure out this a coordinate. That's the only thing that's missing. Go ahead, solve. Okay, so I'm kind of going to go into hyper mode here. 0 equals a, 6 minus 3 is 3 squared plus 5. Let's subtract 5 from both sides. So that's going to be negative 5 equals 3 squared is 9. A. Get a all by itself. Divide both sides by 9. A equals negative 5/9. So you guys, here's your new function. Because they want you to write the function. They want you to say f of x equals, here's your a value, plug it in, x minus, your h is 3, and then your k is 5. Okay, so your goal for this one was to find your a value, plug it in, plug it in. Now, basically any point that you plug in between those 2 points, you should come up with a new number. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry this went on a little bit longer than it should have. Make sure you get these filled in. I'll see you tomorrow. Be prepared for just a couple of extra examples to go through together. Bye.